Hindu nationalist gangs target and segregate interfaith friend groups. So this is really extreme, you guys. Oh, here it comes. For the past 6 months, the number of harassment and violent attacks on groups of people traveling with non-Hindus has increased significantly in the state of Karnataka in southwest India. Since January 2021, police officers in Udupi and Dakshina Kannada have reported 51 public incidents of harassment, some of which have ended violently, 14 cases of moral policing by Hindu vigilante activists, and 13 documented incidents of hate speech. The worst case in this series of attacks happened on April 1st. A Hindu woman was traveling with Aswad Anwar Muhammad, a 23-year-old Muslim man. He was stopped and stabbed by Bajrang Dal and Vishwa Hindu Parishad, which are Hindu right-wing organizations that subscribe to the Hindutva ideology. According to the police, these attacks are coordinated with members of right-wing groups corresponding with each other across different cities throughout the state. So this is so crazy. So this is about how there are instances throughout this state, and in particular the city of Mangalaguru, where there are citizens that are conspiring with these right-wing mobs to give them information on the whereabouts and travels of interfaith friend groups or couples. Specifically, if it is of course, a Hindu woman traveling with a Muslim man. If there is a Muslim man traveling in the group of individuals, and especially if that group includes Hindu women, then these mobs are tipped off by shop workers, by bus keepers, by everyday citizens. They're informed on, and then these mobs will have cells basically to go target individuals.
It's like the Stasi.
It's effing crazy to literally beat up these Muslim guys and literally segregate people. It's so messed up. One of these stories involved a situation. So there was a group of 7, 3 Hindu women, 3 Hindu men, 1 Muslim guy. They went and they tracked down this group. They went and beat up the Muslim guy, and then they went and forced the group to take a picture of the Muslim man next to the 3 Hindu women, and then blasted that picture across Hindutva WhatsApp groups, celebrating how they had prevented a love jihad. So now they are creating their own false instances of love jihad to fuel their own conspiracies. Like, this goes so deep, I don't even know where to begin. It is so insidious to think about everyday citizens who are not even, according to police, not even real members of these groups, to be reporting on the statuses, especially young couples, especially young friend groups, like, to go report them because of they suspect that they're an interfaith couple. Like, oh my God, it makes me so angry.
It kind of reminds me in some ways of the Jim Crow South, where people...
I was gonna make that point.
People were very, very against, like, the community was against interracial friendships, and especially interracial marriages. I mean, there were laws against miscegenation laws, similar to these, kind of special marriage rules and things. And yeah, I mean, so you have these group of, vigilantes basically taking the law into their own hands, and the communities involved in doing it. It's very much Jim Crow South-esque.
It's actually a lot worse than the worst, time during the Jim Crow era. Like, India is seems to be, based on data as well, not just anecdotal evidence, the most bigoted place on the planet. Right? When it comes to hatefulness and bigotry, like there is no country that is as bad as India. And it's amazing because a lot of people think like, oh, United States bad, racism. North America and Western Europe, they have problems with racism. Nobody should deny that. There needs to be, the people who are fighting racism and making progress. They should keep doing that, and good for them. But you have to understand that this is me saying that North America and Western Europe are actually the least racist or bigoted places on the planet. That's not me discouraging for that work to continue. There needs to still be a lot of progress. But I hope people understand one reason why United States might seem more racist to a lot of people than it actually is because people are actually sensitive to racism and bigotry, and when it's highlighted, people actually react to it and highlight it and get traumatized by it, or want to correct it, and it gets on the news. In many places around the world, it's the activities like that gets on the news in the United States is such a part of the norm and part of real life and part of how things are. That it doesn't get the same level of outrage and reaction, and that's because the outrage is not there, because the coverage is not there, because the reaction is not there. People just assume like, oh, it must be the United States. We see it on the news that they're being racist more often, so it must be more racist. No, it's actually the least racist, some of the least racist places on the country on the planet. One thing I want for people to do an exercise is just go through this news, and this is one of the many instances. Like, this is something huge in India, huge, and we're talking about the second most populated. We're talking about more than 1 billion people, 1.3 billion people, like that are living under standards that would not be tolerated in civilized countries, right? This would be like. But just go through this one instance, something that is common in India, and just replace the word Hindu with white and Muslim with black, and then imagine and India with United States. Just imagine not how just the United States will react, but how the world would have reacted if this was happening in the United States. And instead of Hindus doing this to Muslims, it was white people doing this to black people. And I'm not saying I'm not saying like, oh, they would have been overreacting. They would have reacted like outrageous. There would be outrage, rightfully so. And then again, I'm not saying they're being outraged by things that are less and not rightfully so. They're being outraged by things that are much less than that, and also rightfully so. But the world is not reacting to India the way that they should. This is 1 out of every 7 people on the planet are in India, and they're living under such amount of hate and bigotry. These people are against love. People are falling in love with each other. They want to be with each other. And these people, because of their ethnicity and their religion, they're anti-love. They're separating people from each other. They're abusing, they're beating people. They're even killing each other because they are for religion, for racism, and anti-love. Sus.
Rivka. I completely agree with your point. Like, objectively, America and Europe is the actual, maybe not the governments or their policies, but the actual people in those countries are objectively the most progressive in the world, among the most progressive in the world. It goes so far that there was an instance detailed where they were on a bus, and there was a girl and a guy couple. And the girl was resting her head on the shoulder of the guy. And someone on the bus tipped off one of these gangs. These vigilantes came and basically pulled over the bus until the police came and had to stop everything. Like, this is the level. And the problem is that based on the stories that I was reading, like, the police are charging people when they can, whatever's brought to their attention. But actually, no, that's not what I mean. In the case of the stabbing, there were charges brought against people. But in the other cases, the police don't really do much to these people. they're not actually charged for their harassment, which I think is a huge problem because it gives them legitimacy in the feeling that they can just continue this with impunity. Rivka?
What I wanted to say is it's not only, being against love, but it's really sad because they are kind of guaranteeing that this kind of mindset is going to continue, because the only way that people can learn about each other and have an understanding and make peace with each other is that you become friends. You have businesses together. Your kids go to the same school. You eat, you have stories, you share things. That's how that works. That's how societies and the world and groups become able to live with each other, tolerate each other, be inclusive with each other. And so by doing this, they're creating this climate of fear that people are afraid to make friends, even not even just marriage, but even friends with other people. So it's just going to continue this segregated mindset. Well, I can't make friends with someone of a different religion because not only could they be attacked, but I could physically be
it's
attacked.
A threat to your safety.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The most important disincentive there is.
And the fact that people are just reporting it on the street, it's so horrific. I mean, it kind of reminds, like I said, like the Stasi, they would encourage people to inform on their family, inform on their friends. And that's what's going on.
Risco, calm the hell down. He keeps saying they were just friends. It wasn't even love. God, we're talking about the whole thing. We're talking about we're talking about India's bigotry and the love jihad accusations and breaking up marriages and all of them. Like, have you not been paying attention? We're talking about the situation in India as a whole. He keeps saying like it's not love. Yes, it's against friendship and love. How about that? Are you happy now?
It's love.
Against friendship and love and everything else and marriages and everything in between. God damn it.
Friendship is love. It's platonic love versus romantic love.
Oh yeah, Rizko has never had friends that he loved, so that's there.
Damn. I also wanted to point out that when I was learning about this, I learned that the city of Mangaluru is actually where the conspiracy of love jihad originated from, or the state, which I thought was very interesting because when I think of the worst instances or fervor around love jihad, I think of northern India, I think of Uttar Pradesh, I think of Madhya Pradesh, and all the other states that actually have laws on the books that are anti-forced conversion, which is this very contentious legislation. Because the state where Mangaluru is more southern India. And I learned more about the origin of this conspiracy theory, which I think, wait, let me go back to find it. Begins around 2009, when there was September 2009, when there was this evening newspaper that basically used this term and posted this article about it without checking for the truthfulness of any of the accusations in detail. And then it kind of took off. And there was even a joint investigation throughout the state regarding this love jihad. And the joint investigation found nothing. But despite there's just no evidence. There has never been, from the origin, there has not been evidence. It's still just promulgated and been so hateful.
I want to highlight this comment. Ritsuko is saying, how do I explain my personal embarrassment over the fact that my parental grandmother is from this state? You are being so ridiculous if your significance and your shame comes from where your grandparents happen to be born and whether people in that in that geographic area decided to commit crime. Is that how you? So wait a minute. Are you saying that your self-worth will increase if people that happen to have been born close to the area where your grandparents were born did something meaningful and contributed to society? Guys, Why are your sense of pride and shame is coming from how far or close are people's crimes or accomplishments are to the location where your ancestors have been born? That has nothing to do with you, guys. You as an individual, your source of shame or pride should be the things that you as an individual have done. Ritsuko, have you gone and joined the gang and targeted people for having interfaith relationships? No, then there is no reason to be ashamed. The fact that these people were in the same country as you, the fact that these people are in the same state as you, even if they are your next door neighbors, it doesn't have any significance on your personal worth. Don't think this is tribalism, this is collectivism, this is groupthink, this is all of those things. It makes absolutely no sense. You shouldn't be proud because of the people in your country did something that your fellow countrymen did something, and you shouldn't be ashamed. Look within. Like, what have I done to contribute to society, and what harm have I caused for society? Those should be the only things you judge your worth on, right? You guys agree?
I think that he might have meant it tongue in cheek, though.
I'm still going to come down on it because it's such an opportunity for me to fight collectivism.
Hell yeah.
I want to
yes,
make a statement, though, is that you were saying that so many people are silent on this type of horrific bigotry in India. And I really think that that's an important point to bring up, because most people, particularly at least a lot of people in the West, have this romantic view of India that, Hinduism and spirituality and karma and the Jains who won't even kill a bug, that somehow this country is somehow higher evolved in terms of their understanding of spirituality and how to treat other people because of reincarnation. It's this story, this lie, this fake narrative that has been sold to so many people that they don't even understand the level of horrific, heinous bigotry that is going on. And a lot of it is state sponsored, or at least the state is looking the other way towards this.
Yeah, it's really insidious. Oh my God. When I was looking into this, I found a quote from a activist, and I can't find it right now, but she was talking about the men who are in these mobs who do this. And she basically says that they are by and large like unemployed men who are looking for attention and meaning. She called them out so hard. I thought that was very insightful because I don't really know that much about the type of people who do these kinds of things. And she's like, because they're trying to lionize themselves. It's their opportunity to get clout in their little Hindutva channel.
And also, they're the ones that have the time. If you're constantly like on notice at any minute, you got to report to a bus stop, a restaurant, a coffee shop, grocery store, whatever, to, make sure that there's not two, different face hanging out playing pinball or whatever. Well, you got to have the time, right? So you're unemployed. This is exactly the kind of forces that a lot of these bigoted groups use all the time. They got nothing to do. They need something to make themselves feel important, and they have the time to do it.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.